if I talk about networking profile, if you are into network like CCNA, CCNP, SD-WAN, and ACI, then LTM is mandatory. With LTM, you need GTM plus. But nowadays, I'm not sure whether how much experience you have, but the current market has changed. Now they are looking for a person who is good in network plus security. So security, it can be your network security plus cyber security both. So if you're good in firewalls, that is very good with F5 plus routing and switching. But now here comes the demand is cyber security or an application security. Because right now, if you are good in cyber security, even you are not good in this Python automation or cloud, but if you're good in application security, then the chances of getting a job is increased to 90 to 100%. Let's say if you're only good in routing switching, you're not, just 1 minute, sorry. If you're not good in firewalls, if you're not good in load balancer, see, I'm talking about load balancer right now. I'm not talking about F5 or something. Why I'm saying F5 is in demand is due to customer trust. There are other load balancer also in market, but one thing more which has an advantage is 30 days free license. Another advantage is lot of good documents and it is easy to work. So if you want to be good in cloud also you will see there are three things: firewall, load balancer, application gateway. That I will compare, not an issue, maybe later on, some people are new, and WAF. Plus, these are the booming technologies nowadays. Even you have been seeing the news of our Prime Minister also that cybersecurity jobs will be increased to 2025. There will be a huge demand, 300% increase. So that's why I have introduced this course where I'll be talking about load balancer plus security concept plus attacks and plus application security, how to prevent it. It is not you or me. It is about your family. It is about your company. Plus it is about your knowledge. After that, anyways, we have been going into different courses like cloud and other things. But why I have introduced this combo is because WAF, there are very less people right now in market. And nowadays, they are looking not an expertise in one technology. They are looking for a person who is good in multiple technologies. So network plus security is a very good combo. Even you have done firewalls and you done this, but I have seen very less people who has done this. So my main agenda would be related to career guidance, plus you can crack any interview, plus production. And second thing, if I talk about job openings in Gulf countries like Dubai, Singapore, Netherlands, there is very less people who are working in these technologies. Plus, there are very less certified people. Certification in F5 is difficult, but it's not difficult after my training. Why? Because there are no dumps. It's your purely hard work which will help you. That is why F5 certifications are in demand. Rest, you can check on internet. There are dumps available, but you will not able to correct your certification. And this certification are genuine. Why? Because people know in market you can correct any other certification by taking dumps or there are settings available. But in F5, there is no way you can crack your certification. So I'll be discussing that also in my courses. Plus, I'll give you support also. Like it's not about training, I'll be having a separate WhatsApp group where people are there from different companies who can share their knowledge, who can share their advices. Plus, you can call me Monday to Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. IST for any support related to F5. And I can give you 100% guarantee that after this course, you can clear any interview and you can work in production environment. That are the two things which I can give you the guarantee related to F5. Palo Alto, you already know Hemu sir. He has been teaching. He has also have good experience. He has also a very good. He has different courses that I'll show you later on. Since time people are waiting for that. And my number you can reach out to me 7 to 8 on this. And this is Hemu sir number. For any other things related to our application, you can reach out to Charu. Now, guys, if you have any
Uh,
question for 2 minutes, you can ask.
just one another question. How would be the lab part?
Lab would be they see in this F5 lab. First of all, I always prefer your personal laptop. In personal
Mm,
laptop, you should have 8 GB RAM plus you have SSD, then it is good. For LTM, it can work in 4 GB RAM also if you have a good laptop 1 or 2 years back.
How
But with
about the
a
processor? Like,
hold on, sir. I'll tell you the
sorry.
requirements so that you can because other people can also understand. You can do lab. I would suggest on personal laptop because that is needed. There is an option on cloud also. I don't prefer that, but Hemu sir prefers that also because here you need to take care of few things. But there are options you can build on Google Cloud, GCP. It is free for 90 days. They will not charge you anything, but you need to take care of your resources. But why I want to tell you is personal laptop is it's your choice. You can turn on, you can turn off. No speed is matter. Your internet speed does not matter. So minimum RAM for this LTM training is 4 to 8 GB. But if you have LTM and ASM, you have SSD plus 8 GB RAM. It works for you. That is how it is. But if you have more than 8 GB, then it is very sufficient. It is not like you need 16 GB RAM for this. But if you have more RAM, it is good. But the minimum for this both the training is 8 GB RAM. And that I will suggest on personal laptop because it does not have any dependency. Later on also, you can build your lab. You can come on, you can turn on laptop after 1 year also. In Google Cloud, you have a dependency. You need to take care of your resources. If you forget to turn off your instance, then they will charge you. So my first preference is your personal laptop. That is my always advice to everyone. If you have don't have laptop, you can buy on EMI. If you want to grow in market, you should have a good laptop. There are different options. You can extend your RAM later on, but buy at least a laptop. It has 8 GB RAM with SSD. It will really help you to do labs of other firewalls plus SD-WAN and other thing. That is the requirement. I hope you got it right. Someone was asking this question. I hope you got it.
Uh, how about processor? Will i3 work?
i5.
At least i5. Okay.
How many cores processor?
Desktop is recommended.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, can we use desktop instead of
Yeah,
laptop?
desktop. See, if one thing more good option. If you don't have money, you build a customized desktop that will only charge you around 20,000 to 30,000. You will get a good desktop. It will work.
Okay, sir. One question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is the knowledge we should need to start this course? Like, suppose I don't have any knowledge in any firewall.
Not an issue, sir. It is not needed to have a firewall knowledge. You should have OSI knowledge plus little bit on networking knowledge.
Okay.
I will tell
Like
the
if you
same.
have better is if you have little bit on TCP, IP, and HTTP. That's it. OSI
Okay.
layer and networking knowledge. That's it. Firewall knowledge is not needed. That is,
To be ho-
I'll take care of that.
to be honest, this is very much new to me. That's why I just ask you.
No problem, sir. Everyone is
Okay.
new sometimes. Like when we learn something, we have to do it. So you can learn
No,
it.
but I like the teaching you people follow because you have good knowledge and good skilled people. That's why I like it.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. My main intention is so that no one can get jobless. That is my main intention for this course. And thanks for your feedback. So
Okay.
I'll just continue now, guys. I'll take Q&A later on. And don't worry, I'll take all the questions later on. But please be online. There will be a lot of things which I'll be discussing today related to F5 plus career guidance that will help you.
Hi, Vidit, Karan this side. Actually, I had just one question related
Yeah, go
topic.
ahead, sir. I'll take last question. After that,
Okay.
I'll continue. You can go ahead.
Vidit, actually, I have a 10 plus year of experience and I'm still working on F5 technologies. We mostly do works on CLI based in F5 and mostly we do works on advanced technology. Actually, I have a basic idea of F5 LTM, but do you cover the advanced topic like SNI, vision fail safe? Actually, we do not use a whip with a single URL. We have we do, multiple URL bind
Sir,
with a
for
one whip.
first of all, what do you mean by basics? What do you mean by advanced? There are two things, okay? So I'll be covering this training from basics to advanced that will help you to work in production environment. My first thing is I want to make you expert in GUI plus CLI both. And you are talking about this SNI failsafe, okay? That all
Yes.
a failsafe is a command or it's a concept used in HA that is covered. SNI is also covered. I'll be talking about that. Basically, it is used when you have one IP with multiple application where you need to publish multiple application using one IP. Based on that, it is a part of your SSL handshake. So you need to understand that. That is a common part nowadays in other technologies also that I'll be covering. So I'll be talking about course content where you will come across that. Next part of your question answer will be in that course content. You will understand. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
That you will be covering. It will be basics to advanced training. Even you will be able to troubleshoot. But one thing, if you want to be very much advanced or you want to be good in F5 or any other technology, your Wireshark
Mhm.
plus your TCP IP concept should be very good nowadays. Even you are looking for training or if you're looking for any tech level knowledge, if you're good in these two technologies, it does not depend on this. Any tech level interview also, they will ask this two technologies. Trust me. Whether you are in security profile, networking. So Wireshark, I'll be covering related to F5, but I'll be sharing you some materials and some good websites. We have also have this course, which is very good in our planning portal. For TCP IP, I'll be giving you one book, which you can refer further on. If you're good in this, you can troubleshoot any issue related to whether F5 or any Palo Alto and any other things.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Tarun, I
Actually,
hope you got it.
yes, actually in F5 we use for your troubleshooting Perl, SSL manager,
That I
and
will cover, sir. Curl is the part of your syllabus, sir.
got it.
Okay, thank you. I'll be just muting you all and I'll be starting with the course now. So guys, first of all, I'll be talking about F5 LTM course content. I'll be not taking much time on this. You can, I'll just refer what all things modules which I'll be covering it. Then I'll tell you the website where you can go. We'll discuss it. So when I talk about F5 LTM, guys, F5 was a company developed by US. It's hosted in US and F5 is a vendor which introduced first product which is called your ADC, application delivery controllers. So there is a product which F5 is a company. It is not a product. They have introduced a product called Big IP. Guys, whatever I will speak, that will be related to your production and interview perspective. So F5 is not a product. People say that F5 is a product. F5 is a company which has introduced a product called Big IP. And Big IP has different modules, which is your LTM, then there is a GTM module, and there is a WAF module. One more module is there, which is called APM. So every minute is very mandatory today. Even if you like it, not like it, I'll share your feedback. I'll take your feedback later on. But trust me, this session will help you in career guidance also. So when I talk about LTM, LTM is called your local traffic manager, guys. Because people have confusion. Like they ask me, Vidit sir, what is the difference for me? Which technology is mandatory? For you guys, nowadays, you need to be good in this all four technologies related to F5, whether it's automation, cloud, AI, everything will come, but these things are required. So when I talk about guys, LTM module, local traffic manager, I'll just go through that quickly, or just give me 1 minute. Let me draw a topology where you will understand all this in one picture. Like what is the purpose of load balancer, how we can protect WAF, and why DNS is required. So when I talk about guys, a normal architecture of deployment design level. So you have a client, let's say there are client 1, client 2 coming on internet. There is a router, let's say ISP. Now ISP router is link is connected on firewall. Then you have layer 2 switch. Then let's say there is an F5, and behind F5 there are multiple servers. So I'll be talking about logical physically connectivity. So your internet connection wants to access, let's say, an application called sianets.com. What is the purpose of this? When I talk about local traffic manager, it is called local. Why? You need to understand why this is called local. And this is a product which has been introduced, a service called load balancer. When I talk about load balancer, guys, load balancer is nothing but load plus there is a segregation balancer. Load means your client request. There can be 100 of client who wants to access my website called sianets.com or a website called google.com. What is the purpose of this load balancer is it will segregate your request. Let's say client 1 wants to send a request, wants to access this web page. So they will first send a request to F5. F5 will send a request either to server 1, server 2, or server 3. Let's say if I have only one server, in that case, all the traffic will go there. What will be the issue? Your server will get overloaded. If you have only one server and you are not using load balancer, in that case, your server will get overloaded. And second disadvantage is there is no redundancy. So my main purpose is traffic is coming from internet and they want to access this website. And this website is called your application, or you can say this website is hosted on your application server, guys. So when I talk about load balancer, guys, it is not about one concept. It is about you should know what is application, what is your application server, or some people say that it is called your backend server, or some people can say it is a web server. So when I talk about load balancer, you need to understand these three technologies in detail. What is application? What is application server or backend server or web server? And how F5 works. So you can see that here there are two connections. One, this one. Till firewall, switch, ISP client. This is called your front end connection. And the connection behind F5, This is called your backend. So when I talk about F5 load balancer or a LTM, local traffic manager, it means that your F5 and your server are hosted in same data center. So I'll draw a topology again so that it can be clear. Client 1, I'll take 3 client. They are coming to internet, and after that you have a firewall. Then after that you have layer 2 switch. Then you have F5, and in F5 that are connected to server 1. These are your 3 servers. So F5 is segregated across 2 connection. This is called your front end connection. Front end means traffic is coming from internet. That is why it is called front end. And F5 is acting as your middle man. Right now I'm only talking about LTM module, local traffic manager, or some people can say application delivery controllers. And then you have a backend connection, which is called your real servers or web servers. Your main application, sianets.com, is hosted where, guys? They will be hosted in servers 1, server 2, server 3. So you need to understand how you access a website. When you open this website, how the traffic flows. That is very, very important, guys. Let's say when client 1 connects to sianets.com, what will happen, guys? Anyone can tell me? In network terms, let's say you are a fresher, you are an experienced person. When a client initiate a connection using HTTPS, can anyone tell me? This is the basic question which will be asked in any interview and in troubleshooting. When a client wants to access this website, your firewall is also coming into picture, your switching is also coming into picture, and your load balancer is also coming into picture. How the traffic flows. So in this case, guys, first step will be your DNS resolution. So cnets.com will have one IP. And who will resolve this IP? This will get resolved by your DNS server. Now your IP is getting resolution. Second step will be what? After your DNS resolution happens, what is the second step, guys? I'll just clear this. What is the second step? First step is DNS resolution happens. When client wants to connect to F5, DNS resolution has been done. So website is called sianets.com and they are accessing using HTTPS sianets.com. Now, second thing, what is required? Second thing is TCP handshake. What does TCP handshake means? So let's say I have a client, I have an F5, and I have 3 servers. I am talking about this connection. Client will send a SYN packet. Then F5 will send a SYN-ACK. And is it completed? Like client has sent a SYN packet that I want to access sianets.com and F5 has sent a SYN-ACK. So this is called three-way handshake or not? That is wrong. So three-way handshake is after that client needs to send an acknowledgement. So that is called a three-way handshake in TCP layer. Until this connection is successful. So when I talk about F5, F5 is called full proxy architecture, guys. Or some people say it is called reverse proxy. So that is why I was saying that today webinar is very, very important. There is a concept called forward proxy versus reverse proxy. Can someone tell me on the chat what is the difference between a forward proxy and reverse proxy? Give one example of forward proxy. Nowadays, which proxy is demanding in forward proxy? F5 is also called a proxy. But F5 is forward proxy or reverse proxy? Can anyone tell me? Just reply on the chat. Your answer will be in screen in 1 minute. Okay, guys, I have received some answer. So the answer is F5 is called a reverse proxy. So I will just cancel this. Now I'll talk about difference between a reverse proxy architecture versus forward proxy. That is very, very important nowadays in market. And both the concepts are important. So forward proxy, when I talk about forward proxy, there is a proxy which is called McAfee, and the huge demand right now is of Zscaler. Based on your SESE solution. Now, when I talk about reverse forward proxy, how the connection works. In that case, your client wants, let's say this is a proxy, and they want to access some website called, right now IPL matches are going on. So you visit your ESPN crickinfo.com to see the live scores of IPL. Okay, so in that case, forward proxy means when client wants to connect to internet website or a website URL. So this is called URL. So in this course, I'll be talking about whole application traffic flow also. What is URL? How HTTP works? What are the different HTTP request and response headers? It is not about F5 course, but it is all about your application, your cybersecurity, plus your load balancer concept. That is why it is more than 60 hours course, which will not help you today, but it will help you till 2024 to latest further on to develop your cybersecurity skills. So forward proxy means when client wants to initiate a traffic to internet. So proxy is a middleman. What does it do? It does your content filtering. Or it can say that it will help you. So what is the use of proxy? Proxy generally helps you to do the categorization. Generally, it helps you to prevent you to access bad website. Maybe in college time, you want to access some gaming website, you were not able to access. That is what forward proxy does. It helps you to do URL filtering and URL categorization, guys. That are the two main things. Basically, let's say you want to upload some file or you want to access some website, but forward proxy will prevent you. So that is why it is called forward proxy. When client wants to access traffic using internet, they want to access some website and you want to control it, that what website you can access, what website you cannot access. That is called a forward proxy architecture, guys. Nowadays internet is been used a lot of time, so you want that, you want to access content, but so forward proxy is basically sit between your client and your internet. So you might see that URL categorization is there. You will get that this website has been, you cannot access this website because this is prevented from proxy. So proxy is called your URL categorization and URL filtering. Now, when I talk about reverse proxy, guys, it is an opposite of forward proxy. Your traffic will be coming from internet and it will go into your internal architecture. See the difference. Previously, when forward proxy I was talking about, it was like this. Client wants to access via proxy, they will go and they will access any website on internet. Traffic flow was like this, client to proxy and proxy to internet. But here traffic will be opposite. Traffic will come from internet and it will go to your internal servers. Because your main website is hosted here. That is why it is called reverse proxy architecture. And load balancer is also called your reverse proxy. That is the first main topic when you want to learn any load balancer. They will ask you this question: what is difference between a forward proxy device and a reverse proxy device? Now, if I talk about, guys, other technology, when I talk about other load balancer architecture, where you have a topology, client, then you have internet, then you have firewall, then you have F5, then you have layer 2 switch, server 1, server 2, server 3. So in that case, guys, when client wants to access any URL, so there is a concept called a virtual IP in load balancer. So there is a concept called VIP and there is a concept called backend server, or some people say that pool members. So these are your F5 term. So in that case, in firewall, there are two things which are needed. When firewall is coming into picture, your public URL IP will be hosted here and it will get netted into private IP. Let's say you have hosted multiple application on load balancer, sianets.com, aws.com, google.com. In all this case, you will have one public IP, right? Which is allocated, let's say 1.1.1.1, 2.2.2.2, 3.3.3.3. So this all will be hosted on your firewall. Now the concept comes that there is a netted. So your F5, there will be one private IP across each URL. So in firewall, you need a netting. What is this called, guys? When there is a net which is called public to private net. Which net this is? Is it static net or a destination net or a source net? Anyone? So that is called your destination net, or you can say static net also. But main concept is destination net. Now, what will happen when we talk about another thing? Do we need any firewall policy also to be open when client wants to access this website? This is hosted on F5 and firewall is also coming into picture. In that case, what is needed? So you need a policy. What will be the source IP in that case? Source IP will be your client IP and destination IP will be your virtual IP. So that is called VIP is nothing, but this is called your URL of your website. So let's say one client wants to connect to this. Traffic will come here. F5 will do a load balancing algo. There is a concept called load balancing algo. So load balancing algo means, in simple topology, I'll discuss client 1, client 2. I have F5. I have layer 2 switch, and your servers are connected to this server 1, server 2, and server 3. So client 1 wants to connect. It will go to F5. F5 will do load balancing algo. Load balancing algo by default, it's called round robin. So it is basically load balancer is needed for which purpose, guys? Can you tell me the 3 advantages of load balancer? Anyone? First, second, and third advantage. Definition of load balancer is means your client traffic will be directed to multiple servers. Or I can say F5 load balancer helps to distribute your client request across multiple servers so that equal distribution happens. So that one server does not get overloaded. So first advantage of a load balancer is equal distribution of traffic. Second advantage, guys, anyone? If this server goes down, this server goes down, will my website will be still up? When I access sianets.com, if I have only one server versus I have 3 servers, what is the advantage? I told you that load balancer means it will help you to distribute traffic across multiple servers, plus it will help you to load balance so that 10 request goes here, 10 request goes here, 10 request goes here. Another advantage is availability. My customer says that I want 24/7 availability of my application. How you will make sure? That is only by having multiple servers, or it is told to be redundancy. And how it is done? It is done by load balancing algo, plus there is a concept called health monitor. Another advantage of a load balancer is security. That I will discuss after few minutes about WAF. Now, another requirement comes, which is called LTM design. Whenever you want to deploy F5, what will be your customer requirement? You need to understand, first thing is that whenever you deploy any device, you need to understand why I required and what are the advantages. Can anyone tell me why F5 is required? When everything is working, traffic can be accessible, it will be coming to ISP, it will go to firewall, then it can go to the server directly. Why the hell F5 come into picture? That we have discussed based on the customer says that, hey Vidit, I want to deploy 100 applications. My company is using 100 application or 100 URLs, and I want that 24/7 availability. I want to make sure that my website is available 24/7. Can firewall provide this? Anyone? Is firewall possible to load balance? Is firewall can give guarantee that 24/7 availability is required? So that is why even artificial intelligence come, even automation comes. Still load balancer will be always in market. Whether it's a cloud load balancer, same concept everywhere. TCP IP protocol will never get changed. HTTP protocol will never get changed. So don't worry about your job, just keep learning. So first requirement, you need to understand why a load balancer is required. Customer says that I want to deploy 100 application. Then I will say, okay, sir, let's go with F5. Now, first question which I ask customer is, how many applications they want to deploy? They tell me 100. That is the first customer requirement which you will take. Second thing, whether they are HTTP based application or TCP based application. Guys, I had a question which I asked when someone access this website. In network flow, what is the first thing? First thing is DNS resolution happens. Second thing is TCP three-way handshake happens. What is the third thing which will happen? When I talk about OSI layer, very, very important question I am asking, guys. DNS resolution has been done, TCP handshake has been done. What is the third thing which will come? Let's see the chat. Excellent, guys. Third thing which will come into picture is SSL handshake. And there comes a concept called PKI, or it can be saying cryptography, or you can say certificate and key. Once SSL handshake is okay, what will be the other fourth step? Anyone? Guys, I'm looking for this. This will really help you. What is the fourth thing which comes into picture? So fourth thing comes into picture is HTTP data. Your HTTP request will be sent. When HTTP SSL handshake is done, then HTTP GET request will be sent, or you can say request header. So for that, guys, I'll show you one diagram. My main purpose of this training is I'll make sure that I'll explain everything by diagram and use cases. Plus lab is mandatory for me. Maybe I can cover theory part, but my main purpose is to explain every concept using live scenarios plus diagram. So 1 minute, I'll show you one diagram which will help you. That is a very good picture which will show you everything related to connection setup, so that you can understand in one go. Like when client hits a website you hosted on F5 load balancer, how the traffic flows. Because when TCP handshake is done, SSL handshake is done, then there is a concept called SSL. So here is the picture. Please understand carefully this. If you understand this, then you will understand LTM load balancer. This is the first requirement. So let's say I want to access sianets.com. First, there will be a TCP handshake between client and F5. There is a full proxy concept comes into picture. Full proxy means there will be two handshake, one between client and F5, one connection will be from F5 to server. So can you see? Now one question here on this picture. Suppose this handshake gets fail. Will my load balancer will do load balancing or not? Or will it close this connection here? I'm talking about if client to F5 connection gets fail, will it forward the traffic to server? Will you able to access your website in Google? No, guys. Only when this connection is successful, then only LTM or F5 will choose your pool member. Pool member is nothing, but it is basically your application hosted on behind your servers. So pool member is nothing but IP plus port of your web server. Or you can say real server. Because your application might be HTTP based, it can be a TCP based, maybe Apache. So in my topology, lab topology, what I'll be using is I have 3 servers, red, green, blue, and I have one F5. So in my topology, I'll be using my laptop. I'll be using my F5. And behind F5, I have 3 servers. That is called red server, green server, and third one is called your blue server. That I'll be using it. Okay. So when I access website, first it will go here, it will go here, then it will go here. So that is called load balancing proper. First request of client will go here. Second client wants to connect. Then F5 will do round robin. Round robin means server 1, then second requested to server 2, third request to be in server 3. So that is how your traffic flows. That is how your proper load balancing happens. Now, when I was talking about this connection, can you see when your TCP handshake, client side TCP means client to F5 handshake is completed. Then F5 will choose your pool member. Can anyone tell me how F5 will choose pool member? Anyone? I told you, right? F5 has 3 servers. How F5 will choose your servers? Based on your load balancing algo. Multiple load balancing algos we will cover static versus dynamic. And the base of the load balancing which we use is called your static load balancing, which is most commonly used is round robin. After F5 chooses your server, what is the third request? Now here client will send your data. This is called your HTTP data. First it will send to F5. F5 already have the server. Then F5 will forward the same data here. Then you will get in your browser website. I'll show you how you can see. learn.sianets.com. That is how your backend goes. It is not like your website is open, you're happy. You need to understand if you're good in network, you need to understand the packet flow. If you understand the packet flow, you will understand everything in detail. So this training or this purpose of my training would be I'll be covering design perspective, plus I'll be covering the implementation, plus I'll covering the operation. So in your company, you can design your network, you can implement F5, and you can work on your operations task also. Now the last topology which I'll draw is your live use case. So you have internet. Just understand this picture. You will understand where it thinks. I have switch. So 1 minute. Before that, I'll show you one thing more. So I will also take firewall also. So internet, then let's say this is a firewall. So mostly the question will come in interview is F5 is deployed in which zone? So there are multiple zones, right? If you are working on firewall, you should know that you have worked on. There is a zone concept, outside zone, inside zone, and DMZ zone. When I talk about F5, F5 is deployed in which zone? DMZ zone, inside zone, or outside zone? That I will show you now in picture. So I have a firewall. Okay, I'll just drop this. After that, I'll have core switch. After that, let's say I'm taking some application servers. They don't need any load balancer. So there are some application which only is application. They don't need load balancer or load balancing customer. Now here comes a zone which is called DMZ, separate zone. So your application and F5s are mostly deployed in DMZ zone. So this is called your DMZ switch. Then I will take F5. Then I'll take one more switch. And with this switch, you have server 1, server 2. And these are called your web server. So what is this zone, guys? If someone asks you this zone, this is called your outside zone. When traffic comes from internet, that is called your outside zone. What is this zone? This is called your inside zone. And firewall has one more zone, which is called DMZ. So in this topology, I have discussed outside zone, inside zone, and DMZ zone. So in F5 also, there are two things. This is your external and this one is your internal. I talked about, right, F5 is a full proxy. So they segregate front end and back end traffic, external and internal. So this is called your external zone. So I will give one IP here. My DMZ is in, let's say, 10.10.2 network. So I will take this IP as 10.10.2.5, this as 10.10.2.6, and this one is my external will be on 10.10.2.1. So whenever you deploy any topology, whenever you deploy any firewall with F5, so you will be taking one zone. So one IP you will give to firewall, one IP you will give to F5. And your internal network will be in a separate subnet. So I'll say 10.10.3.1. This web servers will be also in this subnet. So that is how, guys, and this will be inside network. You can treat it as 10.10.40. So that is how in live production environment you deploy our topology. So F5 by default, when you deploy F5, there are 4 interfaces available in F5. One is called your management interface to access your F5 management IP. One interface is called your HA interface for high availability. Let's say if F5.1 goes down, traffic should go to F5.2. One interface is called your external and one interface is called your internal. So your external traffic is between client to web and internal is your servers. Server zone is mostly on your internal zone, guys. So I'll show you quickly how I will access. So just log in. So by default, username is admin, password is admin. When I go here, go to network interfaces. So you can see 3 interfaces are there, but you will not see management interface here. Management interface is a separate interface, guys, which you can only see by CLI. Now, guys, this was all about your load balancer. Now, where the WAF comes. I'll just give you an overview where your WAF comes into picture so that you can understand that topology also. Just 1 minute. Before that, guys, I was talking about certification journey also. So certification, when I talk about, guys, like in CC networking term, you need to do CCNP, then you need to go CCNP. In F5, it has a separate journey which you need to understand. You need to first clear your 101 exam. After that only, you can go to 201. So to become certified admin, to get your first certificate, you need to be good in F5 101 and 201. So in my course agenda, guys, I'll be covering 101, 201, 301, and 303. So in this 60-hour journey, which we'll be taking, starting from 4th May, guys, it's a weekend batch. I'll be covering this whole journey, 4 certification you can do. And I'll make sure that you clear and you become a technology specialist. And it's a huge demand in market. After that, you can choose. But the first prerequisite is you should do 101 and 201. After that, only you can do any of this. Either you can do 301, 302, 303, or 304. It depends on up to you. So when I started my journey, I first cracked this, then I did my this certification. After that, I did this one. It does not have any prerequisite. You can go directly. But prerequisite is for attending any of these certifications. You need to first crack this 101 and 201. After that, you can become solution architect. So admin, technology specialist, and then solutions. So in F5, there are 2 certification of solutions. One is 401. This is like CCI. Even you are till this level, guys, you will get 100% surety of job, guys. That I can guarantee. Okay, guys. And now when I talk about WAF topic, guys. So WAF, I'll see if I have any topology quickly here ready. Otherwise, I'll draw our topology. So this was, I was talking about TCP handshake, which I was showing you. When F5 is deployed, whether it is an LTM module or ASM or a WAF module, there is a 3-way handshake which will be developed. So base will be remaining same. So that is why I'm starting LTM then ASM, because your 3-way handshake and load balancer technology is common. Whether you want to do WAF, you just need to understand this. Basics are same for any module, whether it's an LTM module, GTM module. GTM is totally your intelligent DNS solution. And another comes your advanced WAF, which is called your web application firewall. So now let me quickly for 5 to 10 minutes discuss why it is in huge demand. So when I talk about WAF, that is basically help you to protect your these servers where your original application is. So when someone asks you what is WAF, WAF is called your web application firewall that will help your servers to protect from layer 7 attacks. Or you can say OWASP top 10 attacks. Because in load balancer, guys, what will happen? Is there any security here? Now say, let's say I have client, I have firewall, I have F5, then I have servers, server 1, server 2, server 3. So it is just a normal load balancing. It is not checking whether this is an hacker or this is a normal user. How I can identify whether a request which is getting generating to my website is good or bad? Anyone can tell me. I want to block traffic of a bad request of a hacker. How I can make sure? Is it possible using load balancer or firewall to detect whether traffic is normal or there is an attack coming in the request? So it is not possible in load balancer by default. So that is where your web application firewall comes into picture. I'll draw. So let's say this is an attacker. This is normal user. Okay, both wants to access my website. They will hit my traffic on WAF. Then behind WAF, there is server 1, server 2, and server 3. Now, web application traffic is also placed between your end user because it's parts of F5 only, right? Man in middle and your application. But what is the advantage of WAF plus LTM is WAF will protect your application from layer 7 attacks. Only if WAF thinks that this is a normal user, then only LTM will come into picture. So web application traffic or web application firewall basically inspect your traffic. It will inspect your payload. Can anyone say, tell me what is payload? Payload is your data traffic. Inside of your traffic, when you generate an HTTP request, this is called your header. Very, very important, guys. WAF, without WAF, nothing is possible nowadays. If you get a vulnerability in your network, then customer trust will be finished. You need to make sure that your load balancing is happening properly. Plus, you need to make sure that your application is also getting security. You need to make sure that it can prevent from any of the attacks. So can anyone tell me what is vulnerability? Vulnerability is nothing but an attack to steal some information. I want to steal your website data. So that is where your WAF. So WAF will inspect your traffic, and according to that, it will forward your traffic further. Whether if it's a good traffic, then it will go to load balancer and load balancing will happen. But if traffic is not good, guys, can anyone tell me if traffic is not good, whether load balancing will happen or not? So in that case, web application firewall will directly block it. And you will get that this website is getting blocked. So WAF can identify your traffic, it can inspect your traffic, and it works based on your OWASP top 10 that I'll be discussing in detail. So my main purpose nowadays is cybersecurity. You are getting AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Everything is possible in WAF. So it is not a WAF. It is more about advanced WAF, where you must have heard about DDoS protection. WAF will provide you layer 7 attacks protection, API protection. So nowadays F5 has a new concept which is called your distributed cloud. It is all based on your Kubernetes and DevOps technology. So that is why WAF is very, very important. You must have heard about this term, API protection, web application and API protection, that is called your WAP, WAAP. So they have learning engine. It can inspect your traffic till layer 7. It can protect from SQL injection, cross-site scripting, parameter tampering, brute force attacks. Okay, cookie poisoning, web scraping, OWASP top 10. All this will be covered in your WAF. So just 1 minute, I'll just share quickly uh, another diagram for WAF quickly to show you one last thing so that you can understand why WAF is needed. Then we will go through your Q&A, guys. So just stay with me 1 minute. Because nowadays, even Palo Alto cannot protect everything. So you need an ASM for protection. So that is why it is needed. So I'm just opening for you that thing so that I can show you quickly. 1 minute. In Q&A only I'll discuss about that course content also. But I wanted to show you. Yeah, I got it. And just sharing you. So that is how the HTTP request in WAF will work, guys. So just understand this diagram. Let's say this is a client, traffic one. By this term, client wants to access any of your virtual server hosted in your F5 load balancer. This is your second. Now what will happen? Instead of growing directly to your pool member after three-way handshake is possible, there is a policy which will be called in your virtual server. So that is called your ASM policy, which will examine your traffic or which will protect from layer 7 attacks like SQL injection or VAST top 10. So there will be a layer 7 policy which will be manipulating your traffic. So it will check, oh, in virtual server, layer 7 policy is there, it will say yes. Then it will check ASM policy is enabled, it will say yes. After that, see, it will check whether it's a valid request, then it will go to your pool member. If it is not a valid request, then it will show your violation. Are you getting? This is how your traffic flows when HTTP with LTM and ASM. When client initiate an HTTP request, it will check, it will detect. So there are layer 7 policies. So ASM works in two modes. Transparent mode. It's very easy. You just need to understand how HTTP works. And if you're good in LTM, you will understand more about this. So that is what I'll be covering throughout our course agenda. Because nowadays bot API protection is needed. Lot of bots are coming into picture, right? So to show you everything, I'll be showing you all the traffic of this in detail, how advanced firewall will work. Now, if ASM is not there, then directly it will go to your default pool. So there are two scenarios. When ASM is enabled, traffic will flow like this. When ASM is not there, then it will be proper, only load balancing will happen, nothing else will happen. And that is why it is called advanced WAF, because in advanced WAF, it will cover your DDoS also, plus API protection also, plus board protection also. Previously, it was ASM. Now they have turn it into advanced WAF. So we will be covering all this web server, application server, and database. Just 1 minute. Yeah. So this is the traffic flow which I wanted to show you. When you have firewall also coming into picture, when you have load balancer also, and you have WAF. Can you see? Initially, traffic will come to for DDoS protection firewall. After that, it will come to VIP. Then in layer 7 virtual server, or you can say F5 HTTP virtual server, which has made there is a web application firewall, which is called layer 7 policy will be enabled. If traffic is good, it will go to your server infra. If it is not good, it will block your traffic. So I think that is enough for day. Now I'll not take more. I'll stop recording.